Hey, what's up, everybody? Dr. Nick here, live from Divine Elements, and I just turned on one of our red lights because red light is super cool, and it's one of the topics I'm going to be talking about today. Okay, I'm going to turn this off because it's a little distracting. So what I want to talk about today was something I listened to an amazing podcast. It was on Dave Asprey's podcast, and he was interviewing an anthropologist, and they were talking about something called moral panic. It was such an interesting discussion because it was talking about sort of the state that we find ourselves in whenever there's any sort of danger in our environment. And we have this sense within us that obviously wants us to move us away from pain, move us away from fear, move us away from discomfort. And it's like our sirens go off inside of our body and we're doing whatever we can. And we all get stuck in this fight or flight response. And it's partly what drives us to, clear the shelves of toilet paper and go into mass fear around everything that goes on. And I love that there's enough also experts and doctors in different areas of immunology and Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cell biologist, and people that are really helping to also bring some levity to the conversation in regards to understanding just a natural stress response and how we can get stuck in a chronic state of stress and how that actually drives down immune function. So there's this sort of moral responsibility of wanting to educate and let people know that we need to be concerned, and yet at the same time, not everyone feels that way, and a lot of people understand the immunological impact of what it means to take a healthy active role and preventative role. And so what we end up with is this massive contrast in our society where we're driven so much by fear that we can't see anything else, and we get stuck in a state of panic and make decisions out of a fearful, seemingly rational place because we believe that the fear is basically what's going to save us, and we feel that the panic is essentially necessary. And my encouragement is to take a look and see how we do this on a regular basis with various different things in our life. Maybe there's stress at work, maybe there's stress at home, maybe there's challenges in relationship, and we go into a moral panic. Basically, we feel very believing and deserving of the state that we're feeling, and we go into it. So it's a morality. It's because all of our life circumstances have brought us to this moment where we're meeting this moment with an extreme amount of anger, stress, tension, pressure, whatever that is, and we feel morally right in how we're responding to the environment. And it's part of our challenge as human beings is to find balance in that. And do we allow ourselves to feel that and move into panic, or do we allow ourselves to feel that and then maybe choose some different kind of responses? How can we respond more intelligently instead of responding through reaction? And that's essentially how I see this role of moral panic. And I get how people get very freaked out and find that fight or flight response and drive that as deeply as they can, and run for the hills or run inside and really dive into social distancing and all the things that go along with it. And I get it. And I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to say, where else is this showing up in our lives? And I think that's an important question. Because when we jump like this in a state of panic, because of all the different life stressors, are we really serving this master system that we have, this amazing complex sequences of biochemistry and hormones and neurotransmitters and socially how we connect to other people, and what kind of state are we going to choose for ourselves? And this has been my position through this whole process is how can we be more preventative, proactive in our focus? And how do we recognize that, yes, some people are getting affected, and how do we really strengthen ourselves and, send love and encouragement to people without triggering the panic button? I think that's super important. And it totally ties into heart rate variability. So what is heart rate variability? The old type of thinking was that our brain controls our body. So how we perceive our environment influences brain chemistry, and then our biochemistry is then a mirror for what we're seeing outside of us. Well, some of the research and information into heart rate variability through the Heart Math Institute tells us differently. What we now understand, physiologically speaking, is the heart has the largest electromagnetic field. So the heart has an ability to communicate the environment to the brain. So it's actually heart to brain, not brain to heart. And what's interesting is that our breath can dictate the state of our heart rate variability or heart coherence. So some of the teaching tools in Heart Math Institute is to understand how to use your breath to control your heart rhythms or heart rate variability, which then secretes information to your brain to secrete the appropriate peptides and neurotransmitters and everything. What if we all adopted a heart coherence breath work, or if we adopted a state of parasympathetic tone in our body to just relax, to calm down? Well, we can trigger that with heart coherence breathing. And so the Heart Math Institute is a wonderful company that is helping to educate and teach people on the power of the heart. And like I said, it comes through the power of the breath. And I did actually a post on this before, helping to teach people how to do heart coherence breathing. Is just basically bring your awareness into your heart. Imagine as if all your breath is coming in out of your heart, taking full inhales to full capacity, full exhales to full exhale. And then the last piece is you're focusing on something that brings you joy and encouragement or bliss or love. And you're allowing that feeling to resonate and build within the body. I mean, it's those three pieces that help to build this heart coherence strategy that help to communicate to the brain to just calm down. Because no level of panic, no level of fear is going to solve any problems. It can be an instigator to respond more appropriately, but it's our choice to decide what kind of physiological, biochemical soup that we want to display or deliver to the rest of our body. So the choices are, is we have control, and if we choose that for ourselves, we can do a lot of good for this body, for this planet, for our communities. And I think that's our responsibility as human beings, is how do we respond more intelligently? And heart breathing or heart coherence breathing can be a part of that. Now, I turned on the red light at the beginning because I wanted to talk about circadian rhythms, because part of a stress response in the body is being constantly subjected to blue light. I'm on blue light screen right now with my blue light screen, but I do put filters on my screens. The constant state of blue light is partly what keeps us in a state of fight or flight. So circadian rhythms play a huge role on blood sugar balance, on hormonal secretions, on immune function, on brain function, on inflammatory processes. So a natural rhythm for our body is to go from a red light in the morning to a blue light during the day, back to red light at sunset, and then black light. But in the world that we live in, we're constantly stimulated by all the different types of blue light, the fluorescent lighting, and what have you. It's massively affecting our circadian rhythms, which affect our immune system. So, and this is part of one of the longevity strategies that we've implemented into our clinic, is to help to readapt a natural circadian rhythm by using red light therapy. So this can be done through near infrared light or red light, which is like the device I just turned on, or it can be done through far infrared, which would be the saunas. It's felt as heat and not as light. But reestablishing a proper circadian rhythm through light, and then also what and when we eat. So these are the biggest ways to stimulate our circadian clocks. And so when we eat, like, are you implementing an intermittent fasting schedule? Are you teaching your body how to get into longer, deeper states of fasting? Really important stuff for setting up proper circadian rhythm. And this all ties back to a lot of what we talked about in the longevity series, was the process of aging shows up as the process of inflammation. So if we want to turn back the clock on the aging cells, if we want to turn back the clock on the strength of our immune system, we have to start to adapt a really resilient and low inflammatory state in the body. You know, we either have a chronic fire burning, where we constantly put logs on the fire to keep the fire of inflammation going because of the foods we're choosing, again, the lifestyle practices, the relationships, choosing fear over conscious responding, whatever that is, that these things all affect our natural rhythms, which then either play out as inflammation and chronic illness and aging, or we turn that on its head and we start to really advocate for a healthy strong immune function and decrease that inflammatory process. And all that is all addressed in how we deliver the cellular environment that either nourishes us or perpetuates a chronic state of fear and panic and stress. And so most of us, unfortunately, like and I talked about this in a previous post, is that our biggest problem as far as mortality goes right now is cardiovascular disease. Over 600,000 people die a year in the US alone as a result of cardiovascular disease. Infections are a blip on the radar as far as how many people are affected. Mortality-wise, lots of people can get infected, but that doesn't mean everyone's dying from them. And this is the responsibility. What does your lifestyle practice look like? Or how are you nurturing your cellular environment? Are you keeping your body in a state of inflammation, or are you supporting your immune system because of your lifestyle practices? If we don't adopt a healthy lifestyle regimen, we're constantly reacting to our environment. We're constantly in panic, fight or flight, all that stuff. So it's up to us to choose how to deliver that healing to ourselves. So that's basically the message for today. We just have 3 days, literally 3 days left of our 50% off deal for a longevity lab. And we only have a few spots left for memberships. So if you're watching this, you live locally, take advantage of the longevity membership. It's going down in 3 days. Don't want to miss out. And for those of you who are non-local, we've got our membership program live now, and we're going to be doing our monthly calls, our Q&As, sharing yoga and different lifestyle strategies on that those membership calls as well. So if that is of interest to any of you that are tuning in, please reach out. And for the rest of us, let's keep building our immune system with preventative and proactive care. And I would love to know what you're doing to keep your immune system strong. So please share, please let us all know.